So my name's Deborah. I'm a chemist paramedic here at the North West Air Ambulance. So I guess my role is providing help to injured people. We obviously attend medical emergencies in our helicopter and response car. So I'll usually be driving the response car, or I'll be sitting up front next to the pilot on our way to an incident, helping him assist with navigation and landing into a field or a car park or anywhere like that. And then I'll then attend scene and help bring life-saving aid to injured people.
So COVID's been quite interesting for us as a service. We work really closely with the North West Ambulance Service. They've obviously been hit really, really hard as well. I think hospitals being full, in effect, you know, the intensive care departments are quite full, and that has a knock-on effect for, you know, every department in the hospital. And it's meant that patients can't really get moved out of at the A&E department because there's no beds further up into the hospital. And I think for us, although we don't necessarily get sent to patients that have got COVID, obviously at the moment, because we don't know whether they do or not, as you well know, people can be asymptomatic carriers, and, you know, we don't want to be infected ourselves to then infect our next patient also without knowing. So we've had really strict protocols with regards to the PPE that we have to wear. So any form of sort of airway type procedure or chest compressions and things like that, we have to wear level 3 PPE, which includes a big white Tyvek suit and a big face mask that sort of has to be tested to make sure that it fits to our face really, really tight. So we either have to wear one of those or what we call a hood. We look like astronauts. It's a bit silly, but it's sort of they're just ways that we have to do what we have to do to protect ourselves to then protect the next patient that we go to. So if you see us rolling around in white suits looking like we should be on Mars, that's the reason. We don't enjoy it, and it does make our jobs on scene really difficult as well, because communication can be really hard. I think it's probably took something like this to make us appreciate how you know, how much we talk to each other on scene and how we really rely on lip reading and non-verbal cues as well. And as soon as we've got these masks and goggles or visors on, all of that is really, really difficult. Whenever we're on base, if we're not responding to an incident, we're in our training room with a dummy on the floor, when we'll run what we call moulages for each other and do some training, and we all work to the same what we call SOP, standard operating procedures. So I think that just helps. You generally know what your colleague is asking you for when they say, please can you pass me this piece of kit. So although I might not necessarily hear the wording exactly of what they've asked for, when we're on a job with our masks on, I generally know what they're asking because we train together. During the first wave especially, we put on a specific transfer service just to help out the hospitals that were sort of overflowing with intensive care patients. So when it came to transferring one patient from one specific department to another, we sort of acquired an ambulance that wasn't really being used for anything else, and filled it with our specialist gear, and then we were going into the intensive care wards to take a bit of the slack off their staff and transfer these patients from one hospital to another. So that was definitely interesting and really out of our comfort zone. If it just pushed us a little bit, it was just something a bit abnormal. I think when we started doing these transfers in the first wave, and I got to step into the intensive care department at different hospitals, yeah, that really hit home how big this pandemic is, you know, and how many people it really is affecting. And I think when you see it on the news, because it's on the news every day, it can be quite easy to just see that as happening to someone else and not necessarily having any effect on you or changing, you know, your day-to-day as such. I guess if no one that you know, or if no one in your family, you know, suffering from the disease, it can be quite easy to just think that it's someone else's problem. Yeah, I guess it did take going into the intensive care department to really make me open my eyes and see how bad it really is, because there's, you know, these departments are full and they're overflowing, and the staff are just being absolute heroes. You know, they're so tired and overworked, bless them. And you know, we were all, especially initially during the first wave, you can just graft and you can just keep pushing because you know it isn't going to be forever. But here we are almost a year later, and God, everyone's just tired, bless them. So I guess to the people that have been supporting us for a long time, thank you for you know, all the love. It really goes a long way. I guess I can see firsthand the difference that it makes to our patients, and I'm sorry that you can't. Yeah, I really need you to believe me. We are making a difference to these people. Some people that wouldn't necessarily be going home to their families are able to go home to the families. We can only do that because of what you do. You know, the help starts with you guys supporting us, so thank you. And please keep up the good work, and if you keep it up your side, then we'll keep it up our side. So please donate if you can. Dig deep in those pockets, because it does make life-changing difference to someone.